What do you want?
You got 1 minute.
You know, you were a shit boyfriend, and you would have been in
come on.
Get out!
Fucking kill people for a living, all right? If you hear anything, you let me know, okay?
The story follows Mike Fallon, a hitman who's got a talent for making murders look like unfortunate mishaps. One evening, a guy stumbles into his apartment, a little drunk and completely unaware that Mike is already there, waiting in the shadows.
Nonetheless.
The guy fumbles around, trying to switch on the lights, but instead he spots a fancy watch glinting under a dim lamp on a shelf. Tempted, he grabs a chair to reach for it. Big mistake. That's when Mike makes his move. Using a rope he had ready, he swiftly wraps it around the guy's neck and strangles him. By the time he's done, it looks like the man just hung himself.
Don't do this.
Mission accomplished. After wrapping things up, Mike heads to a nightclub, slipping the bouncers some cash to let him in and stir up trouble. Inside, he picks a fight with a massive bald guy. Mike could take him down easily, but the dude's friends show up, and suddenly, it's a full-blown brawl. Just what Mike wanted. He calls this his way of blowing off steam after a job, and by the time he's done, he's left a trail of beaten-up guys behind him. From there, Mike heads to his usual hangout, Oasis, a pub that doubles as a secret assassin HQ.
This is carnage.
It's where hitmen like him get their assignments. The crew hanging out there includes some real characters. There's Carnage Cliff, a psycho with an axe, Pete, the poison expert, Mick and Mac, two ex-military guys who are all about explosives and martial arts, Jane, aka the Ripper, who's deadly with a katana, and Finicky Fred, a guy who creates bizarre custom weapons. Running the place is Big Ray, a retired assassin, while a guy named Milton acts as the middleman, setting up jobs for the crew and taking a 15% cut from their earnings.
It's delivered to us in a KBD.
After getting paid for his latest job, Mike gets another mission from Milton. The target? A guy named Archie Rudd. The client wants it to look like an accident, which is right up Mike's alley. The next day, Mike sets up on a rooftop, waiting for the perfect moment. When Archie's car comes into view, Mike fires a special bullet at the tires, making the driver lose control and crash. Just like that, Archie is gone, and to the outside world, it's just another tragic car accident. Back home, Mike should be celebrating, but instead, memories of his ex, Beth Carpenter, start creeping in. She had left him for a new guy, Charlie Adams, and Mike hadn't really thought about her in a while, until now. His thoughts are interrupted by a call from Milton, who tells him to pick up his payment in an alley at 9 p.m.
Tomorrow night at 9 p.m. I'll see you at the OA.
But when Mike gets there, things go sideways. Instead of Milton, he's ambushed by an amateur assassin who opens fire on him. The guy runs out of bullets and tries to escape, but Mike isn't about to let that happen. He takes him out quickly. Right after that, Mike gets a message from Charlie with some devastating news. Beth is dead. The next day, he watches her funeral from a distance. Once the crowd clears, he approaches her grave and leaves flowers.
You're Mike.
Charlie finds him there and tells him how it happened, a robbery gone wrong. But then, he drops another bombshell. Beth was pregnant with Mike's child. Back home, Mike sees a news report about Beth's supposed killer. The guy was found dead from an overdose, case closed. But Mike isn't buying it. Beth was an environmental activist, constantly exposing corrupt companies. There's no way her death was just some random crime. Determined to find the truth, he sneaks into the police station, steals the report, and heads to the crime scene to reconstruct what happened. Something isn't adding up. The report mentions that Beth had a high dose of a sedative in her system, the kind usually given to people with extreme flight anxiety. But Mike knows for a fact that Beth had no fear of flying. This wasn't a mugging, it was a professional hit, and he has a pretty good idea who did it. His suspicion falls on Mick and Mac, the duo known for staging crimes to look random. He tracks them down at their Taekwondo gym and confronts them. At first, they deny everything. But when Mike tells them that Beth was pregnant, their expressions change.
The you two swear by Theopental.
Finally, they admit to killing her, but to them, it was just another job. They don't know who ordered the hit. Furious, Mike beats the crap out of both of them, demanding more answers. Under pressure, they finally suggest that Milton might have some idea who the client is. Mike storms back to the Oasis, looking for answers. Big Ray, the man who trained him, warns him to keep his emotions in check, reminding him that Mick and Mac were just doing their job. But Mike doesn't care. He's out for revenge.
Around here. Don't you disrespect!
Frustrated, Big Ray pulls a gun on him, ordering him to back off. Mike leaves, but nothing is going to stop him from getting justice for Beth. As Mike walks away, memories of the past flood his mind. At 15, he was just a kid delivering newspapers, constantly bullied by local thugs. One day, while hiding from them, he spotted a mysterious man leaving a house right before it exploded. Intrigued, he secretly followed the man, capturing footage of his every move. That man was none other than Big Ray. Mike, being bold, confronted him and threatened to expose the footage unless Ray trained him to be an assassin. Instead of killing the boy, Big Ray recognized his guts and intelligence and decided to take him under his wing. Mike's first kill was the leader of the gang that tormented him, tricked into falling to his death while trying to grab cash taped to a balcony antenna. From that day on, Big Ray became his mentor and father figure, teaching him 3 golden rules of the job.
Weapons, all sorts of weapons. Using an...
Never act out of anger, never get emotionally involved, and never get caught. Mike had already broken 2 of those rules. Back in the present, Mike heads to Charlie's place, convinced that Beth's activism got her killed. He tries to explain that she was targeted, but Charlie is skeptical, especially when he mentions professional killers.
In the game show?
No, she was assassinated.
Before he can convince her, Cliff bursts in, wielding an axe. In the chaos, Mike ends up killing Cliff with his own weapon. Realizing that Charlie is now a target, Mike pressures her to share what she knows. She reveals that Beth was fighting against Pankit Petroleum, a corrupt oil company planning to drill in the North Sea. Mike tells Charlie to dig up more on the company while he hunts down Milton. Mike tracks Milton to his hideout, where he has no intention of playing nice. He tortures Milton until the man spills everything. Beth was taken out on the orders of Leonard Kent. With a name in hand, Mike calls Charlie and arranges a meeting. Meanwhile, back at the Oasis, Big Ray and the remaining assassins decide that Mike has crossed the line by killing Cliff, and they agree to take him down. Charlie finds out that Beth's fight against Pankit Petroleum was backed by a whistleblower named Archie Rudd, while Mike learns that Leonard Kent was directly responsible for arranging her murder. He storms into Kent's office, interrogating him with the threat of defenestration. Fearing for his life, Kent confesses, handing over a recording of his boss, instructing him to get rid of Beth. But before they can process what it means, Mick and Mac ambush them, guns blazing. Kent is killed in the crossfire. As bullets fly, Mike outmaneuvers his attackers, leading to a scuffle where Mick accidentally shoots Mac dead. Mike knocks Mick unconscious with a fire extinguisher before escaping, only to run into Pete outside. Pete tries to poison Mike, but Mike turns the tables, using Pete's own poison against him. Fred is next on the hit list, but Mike merely knocks him out and takes one of his experimental bandages. Mike's final target is Atal Zim, the corrupt oil tycoon behind everything. At Zim's mansion, Jane the Ripper is already waiting, ready for a fight. The battle is brutal, but in the end, Mike kills her with her own katana. Now face to face with Zim, the tycoon tries to buy his way out, offering a fortune in exchange for his life. But Mike isn't interested in money. He beheads Zim without hesitation. With his mission complete, Mike returns to the Oasis for one last showdown. He informs Big Ray that the other assassins turn on him first, forcing his hand. Then, he plays the rest of the recording he got from Kent. It reveals that Milton not only ordered the hit on Beth, but also set Mike up to be killed. Furious, Big Ray beats Milton to a pulp. Mike hands Milton one of Fred's poison bandages, and Milton unknowingly seals his own fate. As he collapses, Big Ray pulls a gun on Mike, warning him never to return. But despite everything, Ray can't bring himself to pull the trigger. Mike walks away, knowing he's burned every bridge behind him. With no more ties to the assassin world, he vows to use his skills for something better. The movie ends with Mike disappearing into the night, ready to take on a new purpose. Thanks for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for